Hi, good afternoon. I'm Dan Sweet. Welcome to our latest HAI at Work webinar. Today we're going to be taking a closer look at the state of the employment in our industry, featuring a presentation by JSFirm.com, a leading employment service with emphasis on aviation and rotorcraft. I'd like to start by introducing the speakers you'll hear today. First is James Viola, our President and CEO. Cade Clark, our Vice President of Government Affairs. Anuja Minor, HAI's Director of Membership. And from JSFirm, we have Sam Scanlon, Managing Partner, Abby Hutter, Executive Director, and Jeff Richards, Operations Manager. A couple of little bits of housekeeping before we get started. Yes, you will get a video today. There will be an email following the presentation today, about an hour afterwards. It will come with a brief survey, which we appreciate your completing for us. And then you'll be able to go back and watch the entire presentation if you did happen to miss something. Questions. On the control panel you're seeing on the side of your screen, there is a tab for questions. If you open up that drop-down menu, you will be able to submit a question in writing. Following this event, we will do our absolute best to get as many of those in as we possibly can before time runs out. We know that there's several hundred people in the audience today, and so we do expect that we will not have time to get every question in. If we run out of time for your question today, my email address will be included in the email following the presentation. Please email me, and we will do our best to get your question answered. Now, I'd like to introduce James Viola, our President and CEO of HAI.
All right, well, good afternoon, and thank you for joining the Helicopter Association International today. This is HAI's third HAI at Work webinar, and today's topic, near and dear to all of you, is employment during the COVID-19 pandemic. This has generated considerable interest. I really know that our numbers are up for today, so regrettably, it's because most rotorcraft businesses are experiencing considerable economic and operational disruptions. So from the questions you answered, as you went through the registration process for today, the largest percentage of attendees that are signed up today are currently unemployed and are seeking work. It's kind of hard to believe because if you recall, early January of this year, everyone was forecasting a shortage of pilots and mechanics in their industry. So now, just 3 months later, we've faced the complete opposite situation. And this is just one example of how the pandemic has quickly affected our industry and the conditions of employment. As I looked at the registration numbers for this webinar too, it also made me do some retrospective thinking back on our industry. There's simply something about the rotorcraft and the vertical thinking that produces a passion among the people you work with. I know that everyone that works with helicopters, quadcopters, and other vertical lift aircraft are challenged with some of those issues that we have to deal with daily. So our attendance today more than doubles the registration of our first two webinars combined because people want to stay in this industry. And it shows that the people who join this industry want to stay here, and we want to try to figure out how we can help. I want to assure you as the president of HAI that we're trying to do our best during this time as your association to help you do just that, stay in the industry that you've signed up and joined and want to stay. And our industry is relatively young. Powered flight is just 110 years old, and Igor Sikorsky made the first flight just over 80 years ago. As a result, many of our pioneers, like people who built and shaped the helicopter industry, are still among us. However, I wanted to say that last week, regretfully, we lost two of these pioneers, both of whom served on HAI's board of directors. Elling Haverson, a problem solver who brought helicopters to complete a big construction project in the Grand Canyon and then started the site-specific helicopter tour sector. The second loss we had was Bill Wells, the founder and president of Cascade Helicopters in Washington State. So on behalf of HAI, the staff, and our industry, I extend my sympathies and condolences to their families. I ask that you use Elling and Bill as examples of what you can do to help change our industry for the better, and then give back to the industry as they did by serving as mentors and or by serving in leadership positions inside of our industry when you are able to do so. So we'll get started with today's topic, but before we do that, I'd like to let you hear a brief update from Cade Clark. He is HAI's Vice President of Government Affairs. And as and many of you here in the United States are aware, we keep trying to work through different rounds of stimulus funding to try to make sure we're doing our part and Cade's doing his part to try to keep you in this industry. And so as it moves through the halls of Congress, Cade is here going to give you an update of where we are. So fly safe, over to Cade.
Thank you, Jim. Good afternoon, everybody. And to Jim's point, this webinar is focused on employment. But as we mentioned, we are, as your association, we're working hard to make sure that Congress is addressing the needs of the companies so the industry can stay in business. And we have jobs to go to after this pandemic. And hopefully, even during this pandemic, companies can stay open and serve where they can. So just a quick update on where we are. We had mentioned in the last webinar that Congress was working on a relief package. We did call it originally, everybody was originally calling it the 3.5 interim relief bill. The Senate did pass it on Tuesday, and it was a $484 billion relief package. It is now called the fourth relief package, as the Senate does not want to consider their work as half steps. So it's no longer a 3.5, is actually the fourth relief bill. The Senate is moved forward on Tuesday. It was a unanimous approval, and it moved over to the House. The House is actually voting on it as we speak. We expect for that to be passed out of the House today, and the White House has already signaled that they will sign this bill shortly. So just want to touch briefly on what this interim relief bill does. Previously, the Senate, the reason why they brought up this bill was because this Small Business Administration was putting out funds for the Paycheck Protection Program, and essentially they ran out of money. So many people were applying for these grants that the fund quickly was diminished. So what this interim relief bill does is provides $310 billion for the Paycheck Protection Program. It sets aside $60 billion for small institutions that provide loans. So what they wanted to do is provide more of the, for example, the credit unions and the community financial institutions, an opportunity to make sure that those guys had funds available to provide PPP loans. And so $60 billion was specifically set aside for smaller institutions. It also provides $50 billion for the disaster loan program, another $10 billion for the emergency economic injury and disaster loan grants, as well as $100 billion in healthcare funding. So you can see that Congress is moving forward with as quickly as they can to replenish these programs that have proved to be very popular. We are happy to report that HAI was working with Congress in the previous relief packages as well as this current one to ensure that our members were eligible for this funding and continue as we move into the relief package 5. We will continue to work to make sure that our priorities and our industry is included in these programs. For updates, HAI members should continue to access the members only site, the Legislative Action Center at rotor.org/LAC. This has all sorts of legislative resources and other information on these programs from Small Business Administration and Treasury, and legislative resources to help you understand what Congress is doing to help the industry. So please look to that as being constantly updated, and I think that will provide you with some good information on a constant basis there. So with that, I will be available at the end for any questions, but I know everybody has zoomed in here for the great information on employment, and so I will turn this over to Anuja. She's our Director of Membership, and she will introduce today's topic on employment. Thank you, Anuja.
Sorry about that. Thank you, Cade. Before I introduce our panelists today, let me just take a moment to thank JSFirm for their time this afternoon and for the strong partnership with HAI. For our attendees, we know this is a very difficult and trying time for all of us. So please know that both HAI and JSFirm stand ready to help you navigate these very extraordinary circumstances. We offer a lot of tools and resources for you during this uncertain time. The partnership between HAI and JSFirm is very strong, and I hope that the information shared today is helpful for all of you. With that, let me turn it over to Sam Scanlon, Managing Partner at JSFirm. Sam, I'll send it over to you.
Anuja, thank you. HAI, thank you. David, Dan, Jim, Cade, that was fantastic intro there with the stimulus package in the CARES package. So important to all of us. HAI, thank you very much for the partnership. We work very well together. We're very fortunate at JSFirm to be able to find thousands of people jobs in our industry. And I just want to thank you for that in particularly. HAI, they do a lot for us. They lobby politically for everybody that's involved in the helicopter industry, and it's extremely important. Please pay attention to HAI for sure. Our partnership was established in March 2019. What we've done is we've built technology so that all the helicopter jobs in the industry are displayed on HAI's website. It's an added member value for all HAI members. There's a direct link communication between JSFirmcom and HAI, and you can receive helicopter jobs in Rotor Daily at any time. Great partnership. Thank you very much, HAI. About me, about JSFirm, I'm a helicopter person myself. I'm an A&P mechanic. That's my background. Managed a 145 repair center, 135 helicopter operation in my background, and had a hard time finding qualified people, to be honest with you. And JSFirm was started, and it was started with a helicopter pilot and a helicopter pilot job. And at this point, we've built it to 4,000 aviation companies that utilize our website. Over 500,000 job seeker members use our website. And we have 40+ job distribution partners. And we're just very thankful for all of them. Today, we're going to cover a few things. Industry outlook, national unemployment rate. These things are changing hourly. I want to say daily, but it's more like hourly. National unemployment rates, insight to current employment trends. Our website traffic, we're going to give you an idea of what's happening on there, what we're doing to help job seekers. As I've mentioned before, we're very privileged to be able to help thousands of people find jobs, and we're building technology. We're going to go over that today with you to show you the tools that we have for you to use for free. Along with HAI. And utilizing the site, Abby will go over that and what we offer employers. I'm not sure if there are any employers here. I'm sure there may be. We are still receiving jobs, still active on the website. So I'm sure there's a few of you here as well. We'll go over that at the end. Okay, so this is where it gets interesting. February 2020. We wake up with a cup of coffee, go to work, well paid, probably involved in an industry that had the shortest available talent, smallest available talent in the industry of all times. There was a talent shortage. There still is, but that was February 2020. And if you look at these numbers, Boeing put this out. This report, it's the Global Service Outlook. Very interesting. Add the numbers, millions. We're talking almost 2 million people needed by 2038. That's a long outlook. The helicopter industry, the University of North Dakota and HFI conducted a study. These numbers are what was going to be needed in 2036, an additional 7,600 helicopter pilots, 40,000 technicians, 64% of operators anticipated recruiting being difficult to impossible. JSFirm felt this. We feel this. That's the spring of 2018. This report was put out. So now we wake up this morning, cup of coffee, and we're like, what the hell happened? So the whole world, the whole helicopter industry, the aviation industry, the whole world for that matter, has been affected by COVID-19. And the unemployment rate, the national unemployment rate, I think there were 6 million more today that have been added to the claims. So 22 million. We went from a 3% unemployment rate to nearly 20% unemployment rate, 6.6 million in 1 week. Now, to top this off, our particular industry, the helicopter industry, the oil and gas pricing has had a massive impact here in just short order. And that business, as you know, the oil and gas exploration, affects us directly. It affects the helicopter industry specifically. Mediums, heavies, these aircraft, these helicopters, manufacturing, you know, they work, you know, if the per barrel gets below 50, they're worried about new models and creating new technology, and buying ceases then. So here we are at a, you know, Monday was a negative, the cost of a barrel of oil was negative, first time in history. And you can't imagine how that does affect the helicopter industry. It's not good, but hopefully it's temporary. We're seeing that start to reclaim right now, but I know all of you that are involved in the industry are watching that as well. So that has an effect on us. But just briefly, there is some positive light. JSFirm has our pulse on the industry. We have 4,000 companies that literally shut the valve off on advertisement. 50% of them did. But as we go through, what we're finding out is as the CARES Act and the stimulus starts to hit everybody, including individuals, $1,200, $3,800, these checks are starting to hit our bank accounts, and the stimulus is starting to come through. The small business, the PPP loans, payroll protection program, was enormous, and your company may be affected by that. That helps. Government has two choices. You either go on unemployment, or they pay companies to keep you employed for the time being. So those are some positive things. And as we move through April, we're finding, as we reach out to companies, we're finding more and more positive. So we are seeing a little bit of a trend, and I think it goes with COVID-19 directly. Oil and gas, 3.6 billion people, stay-at-home orders. Gas isn't being utilized, so it's being overstocked. So when those release, hopefully the gas prices come back up, and a slow rebound will happen with us. What we're doing for you, what JSFirm.com is doing for you, we're going to cover that. And Abby's going to go over some features of this website that we've developed. I'm just touching on them basic. There's some here. We're going to go over these, try to keep them quick. The point is to show you how to find a job in a very, very tough time. There are not a lot of job postings out there. There are companies hiring. Make no mistake, they are, and they are on JSFirm. And that information is accessible to you. It's accessible to you on HAI rotor.com's website as well, rotor.org, I believe. But there's a few things that we've done. And if you're a little bit old school, like me, when you're looking for a position, you're looking for a job, you can click and apply. That is a option for you. But what we've created on the back end of our website is a company map. So if you want to find every aviation company within a 15-mile radius of your couch, you can do that. Whether they're hiring or not, you using JSFirm's website, you can map them, export them, and use them to start your networking. It's very important. We have a saying at JSFirm that every single company is hiring under all circumstances. They're always looking for great people. It's a fact. And companies that are not constantly recruiting are going out of business. That's fact. So utilize it. You might not see the job posting, but utilize the map. We'll go over that. We have resume reviews. We have a hiring survey. And also for you helicopter folks, we have a quizzes you can take online. I highly recommend that. All this is free to you. So we'll go over that. Okay, on to the next slide. I'm going to introduce you to Abby Hutter. She's our executive director, and she's fortunate enough to handle our enormous database, all the technology that we write to help job seekers find positions. So I'll hand that over to Abby. Abby, thank you. HAI, one more time, thank you for all you do. Thank you for lobbying for us at the political level. And you know, this is the United States of America and the helicopter industry. We'll get through this. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Sam. I know as a team, we're happy to be here today, and I wanted to, again, thank HAI and the team that we work with as far as Nuja, David, and Dan. And I know I was thinking this morning, Anuja, that we just saw each other in March at Women in Aviation in early March, and at that point, COVID-19 was just starting to be talked about, and everybody was there. There was lots of hand sanitizing stations, but it was kind of like after Women in Aviation, the world just shut down. So now we find ourselves here, and I know I'm at home in my kitchen, and I was joking earlier saying that when we built this house a few years ago, we severely underestimated the amount of office space that we need. I have a family of 5. My husband's a teacher, so he's teaching from home. My kids are schooling from home. So, you know, I think everyone is making the best of what they can right now. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Just briefly, I wanted to give you guys an overview of what our website traffic looks like today, well, as of yesterday. So I'm sure we have a bunch of helicopter professionals in this room, being that we're working with HAI. 44% of our resume database is actually comprised of helicopter professionals. So that's everything from executives, pilots, mechanics, salespeople. The biggest standout on this sheet to me is that 32% increase in our overall website traffic, and the majority of that is coming from the user side. So not so much the company side, but it's the job seekers that are searching. You know, thousands and thousands and thousands of searches a day by thousands of people. So we are doing our best to make the website the best that it's ever been, because fortunately we're all at home and we're not traveling to all of the trade shows that we normally would be at this time. And again, to reiterate, our website is comprised of, you know, it's definitely aviation centric, but helicopter is a huge part of our database, both for companies and job seekers. I also want to make sure everyone is aware, you know, sometimes we get confused that we're a recruiting company, and that couldn't be further from the truth. JSFirm.com is a job advertising platform for companies to advertise their open positions, and then it's on the job seekers side to find the job, apply to the job, follow up. We are just the portal of thousands of jobs. And it's important to know too that it's not just pilots and mechanics. You can see these are all categories of jobs that you can search on our website, everything from accounting to UAV, UAS. So those are easy to find on our website. These are the features that I am going to touch on, and over the next few slides, you're going to hear me mention the word member. And sometimes when you're a member, that means it costs money. So the next point I want to make that JSFirm.com is free for job seekers. Yes, we charge companies to advertise, but it's free for job seekers. So the biggest difference for us is if you're a guest, you can search and apply to jobs all day long. You become a member, you get access to all of these tools I'm about to explain to you, and it's phenomenal. So again, if you hear me say member, don't think you have to pay for it. Everything I'm going to talk about today is completely free. First thing I want to tell you about are the JSFirm.com job alerts. So when you're running searches on our website, you have the ability to save that search. And what that does is it generates a job alert that you will receive on your phone every time there's a new job. So you can save a company, and if that company's hiring or they have a new job, you'll get an email. You can save a job. So based off the category and the location that you're using, we will send any new jobs that come to that area. And I'll show you our map in a little bit, and this will make a little more sense. But again, this is completely free. Guests can even get these as well, but if you're a member, you get them days before guests do. So in this certain environment that we're in now, you know, soon everybody's going to be looking for jobs again when those jobs become available like they were a few months ago, like Sam and Jim were talking about. So you're going to want to make sure you get those job alerts set up for you, completely free. Something else that we offer is resume management tools. So once you get into the website, you have your own member profile, and from that profile, you are able to use our resume builder, which is awesome. So if you find yourself that you have been working, you know, maybe 10 or 15 years and you don't have a resume. I mean, I don't have a current resume. If you're working, you typically don't have a resume. So what do we have on our website? A resume builder. It's awesome. It's easy. It's free. It has you insert all your information, and then we will build that resume for you, the website will. You have the ability to store your resume. You can also hide your resume or block your resume from companies that you would not want to find your resume. Because we are an aviation niche website, you know, aviation's not that big. So if you would want to hide your resume from your current employer or past employer, you do have the ability to do that as a member. Also, as a member, you can call JSFirm.com. We have a whole office of people that will review your resume for free and give you tips. And if you find yourself that you got a job or you're off the market, you can just take your resume off of JSFirm.com at any time. I don't want you to think that, you know, that's the end all be all. It's your resume, it's your information. Next is our interactive job and company map. This is something that we hold tried and true. I have not seen anybody else that has had this sort of functionality. So I have a screenshot here. I'm actually going to take you to our website in just a minute. Probably my kids aren't on Netflix too heavy right now and my Wi-Fi is working. But I'm going to take you through and show you what our map does. But it's, let's see, the best way to do it is to show you. So let me make sure. Sam, if you still have your sound on, just make sure, let me know that you can still see my screen.
Yeah, it's clear, Abby.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and run a search I'm going to enter a keyword in here. Latrobe is actually where I am currently sitting. And then we're going to try, we go with Baltimore, Maryland, run this job search. And you can see that I'm logged in. Again, this is another feature. If you're not logged in or if you don't have an account with us, you're just going to get a list of jobs, which is fine. But when you're logged in, look how cool this map is. So it gives you a 200-mile radius of the center point of the city that you searched. What this means here, all the green pins right now are active listings on our website. These are jobs you can apply to. I won't go super click happy with you here, but these are all active jobs. You're able to scroll in. You guys are familiar, it's just a Google map. And then if I remove my favorites, I can take those off the map. I can even turn off the active jobs. Something that we're really impressing upon job seekers that call our office right now, especially, and Sam mentioned it, you know, 47% of the companies who use JSFirm, they've put their advertising on hold for right now. Some have told us they'll come back just as soon as they can, but everything's on hold. So what do you do as a job seeker if the jobs aren't out there? You go after the companies. So here you can see, if this will load, all the gray pins, these are not active jobs as of right now, but these are aviation companies on our website. So you're able to click through here. I'm sorry, the webinar thing's kind of blocking my screen. I'm sure you guys can see that though. There's a heart. You're able to favorite companies. You can message companies that aren't hiring, but all of these gray pins are real aviation companies. They're not just random companies. And what's neat is you can run this search across the entire world. Now we do limit it to that 200-mile radius, but you can select a new city, even if just by clicking and holding. You can run a brand new search in another area. So again, this is something that we're impressing upon job seekers that call in. Back to my screen here. You know, because the jobs are, you guys know, jobs, not all of them are there now. There's still a lot of jobs on our website, but there's a lot that have come off, and we recommend messaging companies now. You know, let them know you're interested. When their hiring freeze is over, let them know you're interested now. So that is the map feature. Again, you're able to save jobs and follow companies. So anyone that's on social media or near it, you understand what it means to follow a company. You can see down here by my mouse, your favorite companies. Go down here, you can delete them. Your active jobs that you're following, go here. And what's really cool and also unique to JSFirm.com is you're able to manage this by exporting into an Excel sheet, you know, your favorite companies. And when you pull that export, you get their address, their mailing address, their phone number, their web address, and then we also give you different columns so you can track, you know, if you are actively applying to them, whether you've interviewed, a phone interview, have you visited them, all to help with your job tools. And then lastly, and probably the most fun, we actually released this at Heli Expo this year. These are fun short quizzes that you can take on our website. Again, you have to be a member, but we do save your score, and you're able to see, I think at Heli Expo, the pilot rotary wing one that you can see here. The average was 83%. So it's really cool when you log in and you click to take that job. It tells you what the site average is. It'll keep your highest score. They're all 10 questions for each category. They're for fun. We don't share them. We don't save your results as far as what you answered. We keep the score just to show that competition. But that's kind of in a nutshell some of the features on JSFirm.com. And again, I want to make sure that you guys understand, if you take anything away from this, JSFirm.com is not a recruiting company. Those are actually our biggest customers. They utilize JSFirm.com, but we don't recruit. We're a large team of, you know, aviation enthusiasts that we have a marketing team, we have a sales team, and everyone puts everything we have into this website, and we do get to travel to trade shows and get into the industry that way, so that's fun. But again, we're free. I encourage you to become a member. If you have problems, if you have a question, feel free to reach out to me personally. My email address is abby@jsfirm.com. I would be more than happy to address any questions. But at this time, I would actually like to introduce our operations manager. His name is Jeff Richards. He's been with the company for 13 years, and he deals directly with the employers, the companies that utilize JSFirm.com to advertise. So Jeff, I'll go ahead and let you take it from here.
Yeah, hey, thanks, Abby. Right, I am very fortunate. I get to work with 4,000 aviation companies. And every day I talk to these companies and they tell me the same thing. They need to hire skilled aviation professionals so they can grow their company. So my team and I, we work with these companies to get them on the website and show them how to find these people. So how do they use our website? Well, first, we build a great company profile page for these companies. We put the logo, their web address, all the information you need about that company, right? And then of course they advertise jobs. That's exactly what you'd expect from us. And the resume database. So I know there's hundreds of job seekers listening right now. I have thousands of companies that use our website to find you. So get your resume on our website, right? Target emails. I almost forgot. One of the best things we have for companies is a target email. We actually, our team, we have a research team that is sharp, really, really smart people. They dig through our databases, and we can direct message the qualified people in a specific area with a specific skill set, and let them know that you want to hire them. So that's, make sure you guys are in our database, right? And remember, companies, there has never been a better time to find qualified aviation professionals. Okay, thanks. Abby, you got it?
I do, thanks, Jeff. Sam, did you want to end with a closing remark before we hand it back over to Dan?
Yeah, no, I just want to reiterate a few things as we move through this time. This COVID-19 thing is like nothing the world has seen. You know, we hear comparisons to the Great Depression. We hear comparisons to the Spanish flu. I mean, these are serious This is a serious situation. But it changes every single day. And the US government, they really do want this economy to run. And they're doing everything they can to stimulate it. They're helping small businesses. They're adding $600 to unemployment. If you do get laid off, it's one of those situations that your company may not have been able to control. Remember that. Be compassionate toward one another, and you do get through this. And as these stimuluses come through, I'm telling you, it gets more positive each day. So as we start to come out of our homes, as the economy opens back up, we'll start to see these things. It will be a time period to overcome it. As for job seeking, looking for a job, I just want to leave you with how I would tell anybody to look for a job and what to do. And you probably know this. Use that map feature. Find out how many companies are within a radius of you. Download it in Excel and manage it. Talk to those companies. They will want to talk to you one way or another. That shortage is real, and it goes into 2038. Boeing predicted that. They didn't predict COVID-19, but they did predict a shortage. There's still a shortage. It's a temporary flooding of the market. So my suggestion, again, start your networking. It's all about networking right now. Find those jobs that don't exist. Find those jobs that are not being promoted out there. And that's really the way to handle this in this environment. As for unemployment, we are not experts in unemployment, that's for sure. I know there's an additional 600 with the CARES package that individuals get. So try to find out from your company, if they have the payroll protection program in place, and if they're using that for you, be thankful for it. And if you have to go on unemployment, it's one of those things that we have to do. If you're in a situation financially that you are trying, where it's tough, where you might be, day to day, paycheck to paycheck, hopefully you have, you don't have that, but there's a website called mint.com that can help you financially plan through tight times, and they give some really good pointers on how to save some of your cash and get through this. So I leave you with JSFirm, is we're here for you. We care about all job seekers. We're so happy that people find jobs through our website. It really is what geeks us up. We talk about it every day. We get a lot of phone calls. Thank you for that website. Thank you for that website. And we're very, very proud of it. So use it. Use it. And thank you again, HAI. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Sam, Abby, and Jeff, for that presentation. That was incredibly informative. We really appreciate your time. Before we go to the questions, I will remind you that all attendees will receive a link for the video of this entire presentation. So if you did miss something after the presentation is over, you will be able to go back and review it. I do have a number of questions that came in during the course of the presentation. I would like to ask Abby, Sam, and Rick to get back online with us. Bring your cameras back on, and we'll start going through the questions. Excuse me, Jeff, not Rick. I got your last name in there. Sorry about that. First question came from several emails that we received actually before the presentation started today. That came from overseas. And so I actually will respond to that one because I took care of emailing a response today. The question is, what opportunities are there for foreign pilots who want to work in the United States? And I don't mean to discourage you. I absolutely feel like you should be pursuing that dream, but maybe give it a little bit of time. That said, there are a couple of steps you'll need to go through to acquire that skill, that job. First thing you'll need to do is have the FAA verify your licenses. Under the best of times, that takes 6 to 12 weeks, and so you may need a little extra time to accomplish that. Actually, might not be a bad time to start that. The FAA is, some of the people are on furlough, and so it may still take time, but right now we have the time for you to be able to accomplish that. If you are seeking ATP certification, there will be some classroom training that you will need to accomplish in addition to the verifications. You will also need to find a company to sponsor you. Neither HAI nor JSFirm.com offer that services. Most of the companies that are hiring in the United States are looking for very specific skill sets, and so there's not really a clearinghouse that we can offer where you'd be able to match up. So we would ask you to reach out to those companies. Once you have the sponsorship, then you can begin the U.S. immigration process. Hope that helps. First question is from Stan Mowry. How is the outlook for employment post-COVID world economy shutdown? That's kind of a broad one, but leave that up to a JSFirm.
Abby? I can take that as well. I think that question, Dan, is just what was the status of employment opportunities prior to COVID-19? Is that correct?
It's the outlook post COVID-19.
Yeah. Yeah. Jeff, why don't you handle that one?
Well, I wish I knew, Sam. I wish I knew, right? I can tell you, Sam, and everyone listening, I mean, everyone's ready to get back to work. You know, I mean, all my companies, they just want to get back in there. They want to get back to turn the wrenches. They want to get back to operating. They're just itching. And so, boy, that's a really tough question. And I don't know that anyone truly knows that, right?
I don't think we're post yet.
No,
Yeah, we're
certainly
kind of
not.
still in it, but we'll definitely, I agree with Jeff.
It's a good question, and I think that question is on everybody's mind in every single industry, is what is going to happen here after this pandemic moves away, and which we're hoping that is what happens as the pandemic moves away. But there's a lot of steps in place, you know, that they have to, the medical industry, you know, as they start to take care of this, I think that'll open back up. But there is a point that I want to reiterate. There was a massive shortage of qualified people, and I don't think that changes. It may change temporarily for a period of time, but operations, gas prices, all these things will come back, and that shortage will still be there. So that's the positive outlook. When will companies get back on their feet? You know, I think they want that to happen as soon as possible, but you know, the president stumbles on that one for sure. So it's a very, very good question. And I think it's all on all of our minds, but shortage is there. It's out there. It remains.
Okay, the next question is from Jeffrey Cohn. How does the industry expect the shortage of skilled or knowledgeable AMTs to be filled in the near future?
That's a great question. And that's something all organizations are pushing forward with, including JSFirm.com. HAI is very instrumental in grassroots efforts to bring a new skilled workforce. Our industry, not just the helicopter industry, but our entire industry failed at filling a gap of qualified people. And that's a great thing to talk about right now, because there's a lot of skilled people on the market. But all the organizations, they're making STEM curriculums in high schools where they're starting to teach A&P pilots. There's high school aviation high schools. So all organizations are pushing very, very hard. They realized the problem. They banded together. They teamed up. HAI, AOPA, all of these organizations do a grassroots effort to get this skilled labor back in to our industry.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna have to paraphrase the next one just a little bit. It's from Brian Lucas. It's a bit long. I'm a former military rotor pilot / instructor who transitioned to the commercial fixed wing field last summer. he is interested in transitioning back. Even though I'm an active pilot, what is the longest I can be separated from flying helicopters before companies will no longer view me as a viable rotary wing pilot? He has 2,500 total hours with 1,700 military hours, ELO hours.
These are all good questions. That's a very interesting question. We were just talking about losing helicopter pilots to the fixed wing regionals. Just 3 or 4 months ago, it was a massive problem. HAI was, focused in on, hey, let's keep our helicopter pilots in our industry. Let's do what we can. So there's an example, Abby and Jeff, of what we were talking about, somebody transitioning from rotorcraft back. Now, that answer, I don't have that. Again, we're a website where we post the jobs, but I would do a little bit of research on that. Somebody from HAI may actually know that answer, but it's currency, like anything else. It's currency on the aircraft that you're in, and each company has their own currency requirements. Insurance drives that. Last week, if you wanted to, or a month ago, if you wanted to transition back in, your EMS operators, they would have made sure that they found a way to help you do that, to get your currency up. Now might be a little bit tough transition.
Yeah.
Okay, Dan Braun, in your opinion, what facet of the MRO industry will begin to recover the quickest in hiring A&P mechanics?
Well, right now, I'm still, like, my cargo companies are still, working, right? They're still keeping those aircraft going. And then I think the utility helicopters, right? I mean, I think we're still they're still getting some hours in, so we haven't lost as many hours there. And of course, like the DoD stuff, anyone that's working on any of the DoD helicopters right now are also staying pretty busy. And I mean, I would assume that the airlines would probably be the one of the later ones to come back up to full speed of where they were 6 weeks ago.
It is interesting, Jeff, that the airlines, with the programs that they've accepted, some of your major airlines have, been instructed, in order for these loans to be forgivable, or portion of them forgivable, have to maintain their staff. So there's a lot of airline folks that are still, they're still working, and that's saved a giant void for us as well. So there's still a lot of work going on out there. You agree? Cargo airlines cargo is really doing well. Just had a friend sign up with a cargo airline the other day, so they're still hiring. There's still a lot of activity going on there. MROs seem to be pretty busy yet. I don't know when that will catch up. MROs are driven off of operation, so operation is down. I don't know when that delay will catch up there, but it probably ultimately will catch up. But MROs still seem to be hiring quite a bit.
I can throw 2 cents in from my past background. The North American fire season and Northern Hemisphere fire season is about ready to kick off, and most operating companies are always looking for A&P mechanics to help out with field maintenance for those areas. Yeah, it also is always a good foot in the door for longer term employment as well.
That's a good point, Dan.
Question for JSFirm: how do you quickly search international positions?
Great question.
I'll let Jeff do that one.
What?
International. There's a category called international. But if you want to take them through that, I mean, if you want to tell them how to do that.
Yeah, it's really what's really great about our site is you can narrow it down to the city. So you can type in any international city if you know specifically where you want to go. But I think what is it, Sam? Is it I think you can search by country too, right? Overseas, or is it
Yep, it's international, and we'll send you that information. Maybe we'll include that. That is a that's often an asked question.
Yeah.
And JSFirm probably has more international jobs from domestic companies than any other website in the world, for that matter.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of international positions on our website, and you can get job alerts set up for that. You just search the word international, or in the keyword on location, try overseas or international. Try those two terms. It should self-populate. Click that, save that search to your save search, and then you'll get every new job opportunity on an international level. Be careful, there's a lot of them, but that's the way to do it.
Hey, also the popular job section too. I forgot. I think there's a section in there for all the international jobs as well.
Good point.
From Allison Perry, can someone give examples of job within the rotorcraft industry that are not for pilots or mechanics, such as sales, marketing, customer relationships?
Absolutely. I'll tell you, Allison, the easiest way to find that, it's a good question, because we really pride ourselves in all these different categories. We have companies that come to our website to find finance people that have a helicopter background. It's a real deal. So we have those people in our website. And, you know, I think the best way to do that is probably in the keyword, search just helicopter, all categories, and go through those jobs. You can look at the map, or you can go down through the list and you'll find them.
Okay, Cade Clark, this is just a bit of a warning. I'm going to come to you for a question or two here in just a second. For JSFirm, do you think wages will suffer because of COVID-19?
I hate to speak for my companies. I really do. I don't know that we have data on that, or I don't know how, you know. Well,
I think in the short term, you know, in the short term with payroll protection, that's not going to happen. They'll maintain their wages from the previous year, I think is how that works with the payroll protection. But as that starts to, I'm not sure the date on that. I think it's an 8-week or a 10-week period. Is it an 8-week, Cade? Okay, so that's an 8-week that they have to maintain last year's average within 75% or something. So I don't think you'll see a degradation there if your company's on the payroll protection. Long term, it's just going to depend on the demand, on how quickly this recovery happens. For the helicopter industry in particular, the gas has to recover. Oil and gas has to get up north of $50 a barrel. If it stays low, we have COVID-19 and low gas prices, low oil prices. That's really going to take a while to recover. You could see competitiveness, which might lower those wages a little bit. But I still hold on to the one thing, and that's the Boeing report and the HFI report of the shortage. I really believe it's a temporary situation right now. Companies are trying to cut costs everywhere. It could be in wages for a short term.
Cade, can the Paycheck Protection Program help out contract 1099 employees that lost their seasonal employment opportunities with the sinking tourism industry?
That is a great question. And that the exact answer is not on the top of my head. So if we have the, I do know the answer. There's been a lot of information going by the desk this last week. But if we get that answer, we can email the person directly back.
Not a problem. That was from Thomas Provenzano.
I think I know the answer, but I don't want to say the wrong one and direct somebody the wrong way.
No, I understand. And things have been changing so quickly within the federal government here in the US that what was an answer last week may not be the correct answer this week. So thank our politicians.
Cade.
Another question for Cade. Will federal monies be available for flight training?
Flight training. I I guess more of a general question of some of these loans that are out there right now with PPP, depending on the size of the company, they would be eligible for. So I guess the question is just what type of funding are they looking for? Within the current structure of what we have through the Small Business Administration, they could apply. HAI is looking for additional funding opportunities as we move forward into the next relief packages to see what type of workforce development opportunities are out there. And that might be an opportunity for additional funding. But within the current program structured under the CARES Act, absolutely they could, as a business, apply.
Okay, I think we'll go back to JSFirm on this next one. We've had a couple of questions. Can we expect to see any change in flight hour requirements for jobs? It says things like the required amount of flight time employers require in the preceding X number of months. So if somebody had previously needed 1,000 hours over X number of months, will that number possibly go down because pilot or operators understand the pilots just aren't getting the flight time they need?
I feel like the pilots might be available. Like if they're not flying right now, I don't know that, for safety reasons. Sam, you can probably speak on that better.
Yeah, that's an interesting question, and I'm not sure. Again, we're a website, an employment website, but that's probably left best answered by somebody within the FAA. But I'm pretty sure insurance companies are what really drive total hour time and frequency, and their 135 operations manuals. Those are the things that really drive those answers, and I think they can be a little bit different across the board depending on the operation.
Okay, do appreciate it. I think that we're running out of time this afternoon. We do have a number of other questions that were of similar nature, and so we will try to respond to those where we can. I do want to thank again once Abby, Sam, and Jeff for coming in today to make the presentation and to respond to questions. Bring up my screen here. The reminder, we do have a follow-up questionnaire coming to you here fairly shortly. It will also have the link for the video. The questionnaire is really important to us. We need to know what people are looking for so that we can plan our future webinars. What information will be really helpful for you in getting a job or getting your business back on its feet, or just helping you to be successful across the board. HAI really does care about this. We want to make sure that we're getting you the correct information. We do have a save the date. Our next webinar is next Thursday, same time, 4 o'clock. We will be sending out more information on the subject once we confirm it. We think we know what we're going to be speaking on, but kind of like Cade in politics, we don't want to jump the gun on things like that. To watch for the email invitation, watch for it in Rotor Daily, or watch for it in social media. In addition to your webinar requirements, we're also wanting to know what the impact is on your business or yourself. We ask you that you visit rotor.org/COVID-19 to tell us your story. These are the only ways that we can gather information right now. It's hard to determine the actual impact of what COVID-19 is having on our industry without you telling us. There's really not a lot of ways to research the economic impact or the personal impact that this is having on you. So we do ask that you provide your stories. You can provide as much information or as little information. We won't necessarily we won't provide your personal information unless you tell us it's okay. Finally, we want to know how you think HAI is doing. Anytime. If you have comments, questions, concerns about what HAI is doing on your behalf or on behalf of the industry, contact president@rotor.org with your questions or your challenges, anything that you want to tell us. We really want to know so that we can do a better job overall for you. Do appreciate your time. We appreciate that you stopped by, and we look forward to meeting with you again next week. Thank you.